Hello and welcome to Star Xpose TV. My name is Aldwyn Altuney, your host today, and we have two fantastic guests that come to us all the way from America today. And if you're in America, well, that's not far for you, but I am in Australia, so it is a fair way for me. And they are the hosts of the Susan and Akuchi Show. It's a talk show that's run on Facebook Live every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And just to let you know a little bit about this show, it was created to inspire people to be their greatest version by having the hosts tell their personal stories and interview people to tell theirs as well. And what stands out most about this show is the age difference between the two hosts. So Susan is actually 56 and Akuchi is 20, yet they have great chemistry. So Susan could actually be Akuchi's mum. Although they look quite different, that would be a little bit tricky. The show is funny, it's motivational, it's inspirational and informative. We had these two beautiful people on Tech Webcasts recently. They were our guests on that show. Hello and welcome, Susan and Akuchi.
Hey.
Hey, great to have you guys. So Akuchi, now where are you coming to us from? And what time is it where you are?
Okay, so I am based in Houston, Texas. And it is 2:13 a.m. here.
2:13 a.m. on Saturday, the 10th of February. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Susan, where are you coming to us from?
I come from a little town known as Boring, Oregon. And
Boring.
It is 12:10 here right now.
12:10. So we are all on the same day on Saturday, the 10th of February. You've just come into Saturday in the wee hours of the morning over there. And right now here on the Gold Coast, it's about 6:15 p.m. on Saturday. So we're all on the same day, which is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us at that very late hour for you guys. And it's great to have you with us. And now, Susan, I have to ask, Boring, Oregon. Now, it's not that Oregon is boring. It's just that the area is called Boring, right?
Yes, and actually we team up every summer with a town in, Dull, Scotland, and we all have a get-together every summer, and we all celebrate together, Dull, Scotland and Boring, Oregon.
Okay, wow. I don't know where they come up with these names. I lived in a place in Canberra once, a suburb called Downer, which is almost like Boring. But you know, they must have run out of ideas, I think. I mean, why couldn't they call it exciting or fun or something like that? You know, why Boring? Is it named after?
Actually, our town is named after Mr. Boring. His actual last name was Boring.
I was going to say that's the only reason they'd call it Boring, after some person. And I wonder what Mr. Boring did. Hopefully he didn't have a very boring life. Do you know what Mr.
I do know that we started out as a logging town.
Okay, so he was probably a logger. Okay, all right. Awesome. Now, both of you, I must say, have very interesting personal stories, and the way that you actually came together to do this show is really interesting too. We covered some of that on Tech Webcast recently. So would one of you like to share how you actually came to do your show, which just started this year? You're up to your 8th show you've just done today, or yesterday for you, or Friday. And so how did it all come together?
Okay, so here's a little story about me. So one day I did a live where it was very, very emotional for me because I got my heart broken. I'm not going to go into little details, but I will say, you know, someone invited Susan Day to the live video and I didn't know who she was. And then she all of a sudden asked, like, can I read a poem to you? So I invited her on. And she read a poem to me, and I kid you not, I started busting out crying. I was like, the tears kept flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing. It's like the masks just came off, just fell off right off of my face. And Susan was like, it is not you, it is her. Know that you will get through this. And she was a complete stranger. I was completely amazed that she didn't even know who I was. She didn't know what I was about. Yet she was there sticking up for me. And it's just like, after that day, we just developed a good relationship. And then flash forward to January, like a week before we started our show, she asked like, hey, what do you think about us doing a show together? I was like, that sounds fun. I want to do it. I'm down to do it, but what would it be called? And it's just like, we just kept exchanging idea after idea after idea. And I was like, okay, how about we just call it the Susan and Akuchi Show? And then she liked it. And I was like, okay, we're going to air on Fridays at 9 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. my time, and 7 p.m. her time. So we did it. And it was fun. And ever since then, like, our relationship just blossomed.
Wow. Wow. So Susan, you made Akuchi cry. So what did you do exactly? What happened?
I read him a poem. My husband, after he abandoned me by the side of the road, I wrote a poem about how it made me feel and how it, instead of, I mean, it made me feel totally broken and I fell apart, but I also found out that he is actually the broken one and not myself, because he's bipolar. He's got some issues, and it turns out that I'm not the broken one, that he was the broken one. And that's what the poem was about. And since Akuchi had just had that incident with a young lady, then he was sensitive to that particular poem. If it would have been a different poem, it wouldn't have affected him. So, but because of his situation, it made him really express his feelings. It was amazing.
Wow. That's awesome. And the way you do your shows is through Facebook Live. So is there a reason you chose to use that platform as opposed to, say, Google Hangouts, what we're using here, or another platform to do your shows?
It's because like Facebook has the most users out of all social medias. Plus, people knew me and Susan pretty much have the same friends. So it made sense for us to go on Facebook and do our show on there, because we built a little community there and people on Facebook already know who we are. If we would have done it on Google Hangouts or YouTube, that would be much harder to get off the ground, because no one knows who the heck we are on YouTube. So it made sense to do it on Facebook, since me and her had the same friends and people loved our individual lives. So just watching us together made it interesting, and it kept the people on their toes, because first of all, it is a 20-year-old guy and it is a 56-year-old woman. So there's a big generation gap right there.
Yes, yes. And neither of you look your age, by the way. You don't look 20 and Susan doesn't look 56. So it's amazing now. I think, yeah, I think, you know, younger people probably growing up a lot faster than we did, Susan. And I think, you know, people of our age are looking younger longer too nowadays. So, I think that gap is kind of merging. So what kind of challenges or what insights have you had, considering the age difference, considering that, Susan, you could be Akuchi's mum, you could easily be his mum, although obviously you look a little bit different, so that would be tricky. But you know, you're about the age that you could be his mum. Have you found that challenging in any way, or have you found it hasn't really made much difference, the age difference for you?
Well, I can say that there are things that I don't really like. For instance, he likes to say cuss words, and that really annoys me.
Yes.
And that's an age thing, I think, mostly.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Why do you say cuss words?
There's that kind of stuff, you
yeah.
know. But
yeah.
I think that's the worst thing. That's it. There's really, he's Akuchi is very smart, and I think he's very talented, and that's part of why I chose him to be my partner on my show.
Yeah, nice. And what's with the swear words, Akuchi?
Well, it's just me and how I express myself. And like when I'm very comfortable around someone, I just say anything. Like
Okay.
I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind. That's how I've grown up. And my mouth did get me in trouble a lot when I was a little kid because I'm a very outspoken person. I'm very blunt, and people may take that the wrong way when I say curse words or when I say anything, period, just because like I am a very passionate person and I express my emotions overtly, like right on the spot. And it may turn people off, but it's like I found out over time that I'm not at fault here. It's just the way people have been brought up. For example, Susan was brought up in a different time period than when I was. So I'm assuming that the rules were a lot stricter, whereas with my generation, it's a little bit more lax. We're a little bit more chill. We're not afraid to discuss controversial topics. We're like not conservative. We put ourselves out there. We're bolder. We like to take risks. Not that people from older generations don't take risks, because there were risk takers from generations before mine and Susan's and our grandparents, but it's like in general, millennials love to express themselves, and we are perceived as self-centered because we look out for our own interests. But the fact is, like, you know, we're not selfish. We just are trying to learn from the mistakes of the older generation so that we don't end up like them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, things are moving so rapidly, and technology is changing so fast now. I think, and 80% of children under the age of 5 apparently have some kind of smart device or have been on some kind of smart device, like an iPod or a laptop or or something, a smartphone. Whereas we never had that. We grew up with Encyclopedia Britannicas here in Australia. I don't know if you had those in America, did you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Encyclopedia. Yeah, so before the internet, we had Encyclopedia Britannicas to get our information from, and by the time we got the information, it was probably very outdated by the time the books were published. So it's amazing now how fast the world is moving and how information is being consumed. And I think the next generation are, a lot more aware of many things that took us maybe many more years to work out, some of the older generations. So back to your show. So what's the format of the show? How long does your show go for? What sort of things do you talk about?
The format of our show is typically an hour, but this episode was much shorter than we expected. I guess we didn't have a lot to say, but normally our show goes on for about an hour, and then we ended up by saying, like, for example, I say to Susan, any last words, just to clue in the audience, to tell them, like, hey, the show's wrapping up.
Yeah. And what about like topics that you like? So you kind of chat about all sorts of things, and I know you have a fair bit of audience interaction too, which is great, because I hopped on a show the other day and you were asking quite a few questions of people watching, which I found really good. So it was very interactive. So what did you talk about, for example, just the last show you did? So show number 8, what were some of the things you covered?
We did getting over depression and paving your own path. So me and Susan agreed upon that topic because we have an opportunity to tell our own personal story to the audience and hopefully inspire them. Like, for example, Susan talked about how she was abused in her marriage and all the stuff that she went through during that time, and how she said 10 affirmations and she had to repeat each affirmation 10 times, and that's how she rewired her brain to get out of that hellhole, No, the name of the episode is Climbing Out of Hell and Paving Your Own Path. So she talked about how she got over depression and stuff like that. just so she can inspire somebody that's going through the same situation as her, or if they're going through depression, to let them know, hey, there's hope. Here's my hand, and I'm reaching it out for you, so to speak. And then I go into my story on how I got into the arts. Like, if you guys want to find that out, just go watch the replay of episode 8 on our Susan and Akuchi Show page. And I did that just in case any artists were watching. I wanted to let them know, like, hey, I started from the bottom, no connections, no gear, no nothing. I started at ground zero. And my little journey where I am now, and I spoke about the little financial breakthrough I had a day ago. I bought some gear for myself, and I bought me a new laptop to edit videos. So I'm very excited for that. I'm like, woo, woo! I finally got some money to buy some new gear.
Awesome, awesome. And what a powerful topic depression is. I know in Australia we have about 2 in 5 people, about 2 in 5, that's 20%, well, 40% of the population or so has depression here. There's a lot of people with depression and or anxiety. Actually, it's about 2 or 3 out of 5. So pretty much half of the population has depression or anxiety. I know in Australia alone, I know statistics of suicide worldwide. There's about 1 million people a year that kill themselves every year across the world, which is just absolutely tragic. I just had a guy that was renting a room from me actually attempt to kill himself in my backyard only last week. He actually was hanging from a tree, and the police came and got him. He was standing on a chair with a noose around his neck and about to jump, and the police came and took him away. Someone alerted police, and they took him away, and they put him straight into the mental health ward at the hospital. And about 3 or 4 days later, he's out again. He's, you know, and the problem is that a lot of the mental health wards and, you know, prisons as well, where a lot of people end up with mental illnesses that do crazy things, they don't have enough room for everyone, and so they let them back out in society. They put them on a lot of medication. People get addicted to their medication. If they don't take their medication for a few days, and this particular person's on dexamphetamines, which dexamphetamines is like pure speed. I don't know if you have, I presume you have that in America as well. It's like pure speed. So there's a big come down the minute that they stop taking their medication. And with this person, their medication ran out a few days before. He didn't have the money to get more medication, and, you know, he was begging his doctors to get more medication, and he just, you know, did some stupid things and almost killed himself. So that's just happened right here in my backyard just in the last week. So now, Susan, your first suicidal attempt was actually at the age of 12. It says in your bio. So can you give us a little bit of your story and what made you want to kill yourself at age 12?
Well, first of all, I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. It's rampant in my family, especially on my father's side. And when I was 12, I was out in the front yard, just right out in front of my front door, and the neighbor man's adult son came down. He was visiting his family and took me by the hand and told me that if I followed him, that he would show me what it meant to be an adult. I was 12 years old. Every child wants to know the secret. What's the secret to being a grown-up? Everybody wants to know that when they're 12. So I followed him through the woods, and he raped me and hit me in the head with a rock. And I've had seizures my whole life because of him. And not only did he do that, but when I got back home and went to the bathroom, I had these little silver balls fall out of me. And apparently those are something that they use to enhance men's pleasure, and it's really painful for the woman. When he hit me in the head with a rock, I could feel the pain from it. It went from my head all the way down to my toes, and my whole body stiffened up, and I passed out. And the reason I woke back up was because he was hitting me, because he thought he'd killed me.
Oh my God.
I was too afraid to tell anybody. It took me a year before I told my sister, but I had a suicide attempt when I was 12 because of that.
Wow. Well, and then you went on to become a teenage mother. you had a failed first marriage and relationship due to abuse, and
Yes.
then you thought your second answer was the answer. Second husband was the answer to your prayers, and then after 30 years there of marriage and severe emotional abuse, it says in your bio, you were left standing homeless beside the road in Oregon. So can you explain a bit about what then happened with you as you went on to enter relationships yourself? It sounds like there was a cycle of abuse there that you attracted.
Yes, my son's father took my son by his leg and carried him upside down up the stairs and proceeded to beat him, and I had to grab my son from that monster and run. And the hospital told me that I was lucky he didn't have brain damage. Well, they were wrong. He did have brain damage. My son is a paranoid schizophrenic. My daughter's father decided that he wanted to have a party and have all his friends be able to rape me. And so he held me down and force-fed me some sort of drug. When the police came, the next thing I remember was the police coming and arresting me and taking me to the hospital. Excuse me. And they took my children away from me for a year because of what that man did to me. And it was during the time that I was in a group home trying to get my kids back that I was told by, it felt like I was surrounded by angels. I don't know what they were. I couldn't see them. I couldn't hear them, but I knew what they were trying to tell me. And I went to the place where they told me to go to and met husband. And he became father to my children and was a wonderful husband for years and years. And then he started becoming ill, and we didn't know why. And the more sick that he became, the more abuse he started with the abuse with me, with the emotional abuse. And by the time he abandoned me, which we were homeless in our motorhome because I was trying to find doctors for him. And so we came back to Portland because we were living on a mountaintop in the middle of nowhere with no water, no electricity for like 20 years. And then when we moved down here, we ended up homeless because we couldn't afford to rent any place to even park our motorhome. And I woke up one day after he had been not getting out of bed for like a month, which was really getting scary because that meant I had to drive the motorhome. And when I woke up one morning, he was just gone. And I went running outside, and he was sitting in his sister's car, and they were driving away.
Wow. And he just left you just like that.
He never even said goodbye. He never even said goodbye.
Wow.
He still hasn't said goodbye.
Wow. And do you know what happened to him? What was going on there?
They found out that he is bipolar.
And he's on medication probably, I guess.
Yes, and the medication kills his feelings. So he will never come back because he doesn't have any feelings for me anymore.
Wow. Wow. That's oh my goodness. How did you?
I laid in bed for several days. My sister found a place for me to park in the backyard of someone's home for a short time. And I didn't get out of bed for a while. And then I started getting mad. And I started going for walks around the block. And the more mad I got, the faster I went around the block. And I lost 50 pounds while I was living there.
Wow. Well, that's a bonus, I guess. You lost 50.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, losing 50 pounds.
Yes,
there's a man, his name is John Cerrone, and he's named JC Limitless on Facebook. And he became my mentor. And he taught me to write down affirmations every morning, like I am happy, I'm a good person, I'm good at writing, these positive things. And then to write each one 10 times every morning, and then read them to myself in the mirror at night. And it changed my life.
That's amazing. It is amazing how powerful the words are that we say to ourselves. We don't get how powerful we actually are. And the more you dwell on the negative things in your life, the more that you'll attract more of that. Whereas if you're not grateful for the positive things, you won't be given more to be grateful for. So your words are extreme.
Well, there's a part of your brain that believes what you tell it. If you tell it, I had a horrid day, you could talk yourself into believing you had a horrid day, whether you had a horrid day or not. You can talk yourself into suicide. You can brainwash yourself into suicide, but you can also brainwash yourself into happiness. And that's what I did.
Nice, nice. Wow, what an amazing story. And I can't wait to see your book coming out, Pain Has No Boundaries, which no doubt will cover some of your story. What an amazing story you've had. And so more recently, the positive affirmations have helped you. But what about, you know, how did you come through all that abuse over the years? So you were suicidal, and then how did you keep positive? How did you keep going when you were suffering so much all those years?
I kept going to therapy, and if one therapist didn't work for me for some reason, then I went to a different one. And I just bounced around to different therapists until I made it through. And once my husband started getting sick, I started concentrating on him instead of worrying about myself. But I wrote these poems when I was in my 20s and in therapy that my book is. It's all poetry. And it has a lot of photographs from my daughter. My daughter's a photographer artist, and so I'm choosing to pull her up with me. So she's getting published right along beside me.
Beautiful. So the book is all poetry, is it?
Yes, ma'am. All on the subject of childhood sexual abuse. All the different things that I went through during the time when I was going to therapy are in this book, including a time when one of the therapists told me that I had multiple personality disorder, which was not true. But I still felt like I had it because I believed her. And so some of the poetry is based on that.
Great. Would you like to share some poetry with us?
Sure. This one is called Black Rain. I had stars in my eyes, wanted to be an actor, bringing people blue skies when gray is a factor. Many abuses are there. Children pay for family sin. I want them to know I care, because that's when healing does begin. I had hopes and dreams stomped on by another through silent screams not heard by my mother. I wanted to give love unending. The possibility was drowned. My emotions needed mending, leaving me to frown. I had future wants, desires for truth inside. He filled my mind with haunts. To pain I must abide. Wants, hopes, dreams, abuse, hate, pain. Abuse brings black rain.
Wow, that's amazing. Ooh. That is really great poetry. Wow, awesome. Would you like to share another one?
Sure, I have 3 altogether that I picked out for you.
Beautiful.
This one is called Shattered Screams. A child full of hopes, full of dreams, now only mopes through shattered screams. Rape of another kind through children's screams, stealing her future blind, taking all her dreams. Can't you see the terror in her eyes? Can't you let her be, trickery with disguise? Saying you love her only to use rape, she sees a monster with no escape. Here, life forever haunted, nightmares fill her dreams. All she ever wanted was love, not screams. You stole her future all in one day, leaving her in a blur, making her pay.
Wow, very powerful. You really paint a picture with that poetry. That's amazing. Wow, and what's the last one?
Okay, the last one is called The Shadow, and this is an actual thing that happens to women who have been sexually abused, because it's like a nightmare. It's like you're awake and you're having a nightmare. Only what it actually is it's you're like seeing part of who hurt you, but you're not seeing the whole person, because seeing the whole person, your brain can't handle it. So that's as much as it would let you see, kind of a thing. And I called it The Shadow. I have a phenomenon I call the shadow. He is dark and only gives fear and pain. He keeps coming back. I don't know how. To make him go away is to my gain. The shadow is a scary fellow. He comes when I'm alone. Seeing his darkness turns me to jello, chilling me clean to the bone. One night, I didn't chase him away to see what he might do. He molded around my body like clay, and then he molested me too. I could feel his darkness enter inside. I don't remember pain of this kind, pushing his fingers inside, needing no guide. His shadow pressed hard to mine. Finally, I could handle no more, so I started opening my eyes, feeling the pain to my inner core. No one heard my cries.
Wow.
Whew.
So powerful. Wow. Poetry, you know, poetry and the arts are actually fantastic therapy and a fantastic way to help overcome depression. I've had depression over the years too, and I did poetry years ago, believe it or not, as well when I was younger, to help me vent some of the anger that I had inside me. I think poetry is great, and of course art is great. What about you, Akuchi? Have you had some dark feelings that you've let out in your artwork?
Mm-hmm. Like if you look at my short film and my music video, you would see that I have a lot of dark imagery in there. Well, not so much in my short film, but in my music video, it has like some dark blues and grays and blacks. And during creative writing class, I wrote a couple of dark stories. One of them was called Inner Suicide, but I don't have it with me. However, I do have a book of poetry I can read to you right now, and it's much happier poems now. So I want to create something happy instead of like making like some dark stuff, because at the beginning I was making a lot of a lot of darkness. It had a lot of dark undertones.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And have you got some you want to share as well, do you? Some poetry you want to read to us?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Oh, wow. It's a whole big book.
Mm-hmm. All right. Haven't written much in it, but I did write something.
Okay.
So,
have you heard this, Susan? Have you heard some of this?
I have not heard his poetry.
Oh, well, there we go. Here we go. First time on Star Xpose TV, we hear Akuchi's poetry. He's going to pick one for us in just a minute.
all right, so the first poem that I wrote in this book is called MFing Weirdo. So here goes. Society judges me like a contestant for American Idol. They say, you're too wild for our liking. I say, well, that's just how I am. Despite all the dirty looks I get, I still do my thing in peace. This wild energy I shall unleash. I'm a wild boy just like MGK. Like all pioneers, I paved my own way. Don't like what I'm doing? Okay. Not my problem. Most people are drones following the command of being normal. My real essence is like a little kid, wild and free. I understand that freedom of expression is my birthright. My freedom was here before I descended into the 3D realm. That's the end of that one.
Wow, I like that. That's had a bit of a rap rhythm to it. You turn that into a song?
No, like I do a little freestyle rapping, so I guess that has some influence on my poetry.
Yes, yes. Even the way you read some of that was almost like you're rapping there for a little bit. That was awesome. Thank you. You want to share another one, or?
Yes, and I do want to share like a short story.
Okay.
It's real short, but
that's fine.
Okay, so it's called Chaotic Life, and it goes something like this. As I sit here and look over my life, the more I realize just how effing chaotic it is. So much to juggle, so much to do, yet so little time. People are so complicated and have so many issues that they can be difficult to deal with. Man, life's chaotic. Maintaining relationships with amazing individuals is tedious but worth it. Life's full of people that are drama-filled, but that's what makes maintaining relationships with the right people worthwhile. Life's chaotic. Jobs can be lost in a snap, relationships can fall apart, cars can die any second, things may not go the way you planned, but embrace the beauty in the chaos.
Nice. I like that. I could relate to some bits in there, like how fast life's going and there's not enough time. Can definitely relate to that one. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Akuchi. Anything else you want to share from the book?
Yes. This one is named 777 Heavenly Ascension. So if you're into numerology, you can probably decode this even more. So for all you numerology numbers, you know what 777 means? You already know. Let's go. 777 Heavenly Ascension, you need to pay attention. Big shifts are happening on all scales. Will you ride the wave or will you bail? All hail to God/source. We are ready to receive the blessings you have for us by flowing with you and not by force. 777 Heavenly Ascension, your inner and outer work will be rewarded. But you have to let go and follow your intuition so your blessings can come to fruition. You don't need permission from anyone to follow your natural path. Do this and your ego won't unleash its wrath. 777 Heavenly Ascension, victory is yours. Do you believe so? If you do, it's time to let go of your ego and flow with the divine.
Wow, awesome. Wow, you guys are so talented. That is so cool. You could do a poetry show, actually, couldn't you? You could do a whole show of just poetry. Have you thought of doing that?
I have not, because I don't write poetry all that much, although I have promised myself that I was going to write a little bit more, but I've been so bunkered down with school and film that it's like taking a little bit of time away from reading my poetry. But I do want to read 2 more poetries and 1 short story.
Okay, sure. Shoot.
All right, so this one is called Optimistic Nihilist. So if you study the philosophy of nihilism, you will probably know it, but I will explain what nihilism means in case you guys do not know.
Yeah. Yes, that's good.
It's actually a juxtaposition, optimistic nihilist. So it goes a little bit like this. In this hell, I'm doing my best to stay sane. I took the red pill and decided to stay in my own lane. This life I shall thrive, not just survive. The duality of reality has me feeling optimistically nihilistic. This path so simplistic yet so hard to stay motivated on the dark days. My ego wants to try to keep me bound to the 3D like a prisoner. My spirit and mind are free from the plantation like my ancestors. I'm singing the freedom song like Pharrell Williams. Freedom! That's good. Is the frequency I'm on. Optimistic nihilism is the balance I feel internally.
Nice. Awesome. What do you think, Susan? How are you finding this poetry?
I think he's way talented.
Yes.
I hope he writes more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I will be trying to get him to write some more.
Maybe you do a book together one day.
Oh,
yes.
That would be fun.
And I'll explain what nihilism means. So nihilism is a philosophy created by Friedrich Nietzsche. And it basically, the simplified version that I can give everyone is life is meaningless. It has no meaning at all. So that's what nihilism means. It was created by Friedrich Nietzsche back in the 19th century. And he was also an existential philosopher.
I like that. I've done a fair bit of work with Landmark Education, which started in America about 50 years ago. And they actually say in Landmark, they say life is empty and meaningless. And it's empty and meaningless that it's empty and meaningless. That's a bit like nihilism, isn't it?
That's what it is. All right, so the last poetry I'll read, and then I'll get into the short story, is called Soulful Vibes. This one is much more of a lighthearted poem than the last one.
Okay.
All right, so let go of control and enjoy the ride. Tune into your real self and get them soulful vibes. That's the way to live a heavenly life in this hell realm. I'm a kid like Cuddy and my mojo is so dope. Go against my soul? I gotta say no. Let the soulful vibes flow through your finite body and you'll shine brighter than the Illuminati. Let your soul guide you to the heavenly ascension that you crave. Hint, hint. On the other side of fear is heaven, 777. Success is on the way. All you got to do is listen and follow direction.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. I'm very impressed.
I am too.
Now,
I haven't heard any of his poetry before.
very good, Akuchi. And Susan's great too. I look forward to the Susan and Akuchi poetry book.
Yes. And I got a short story called Embrace the Madness, My Darling. So it goes like, even though this life is maddening, I love it very much like a mother loving her child. Just like me, this life is wild. The vibes that I feel at this moment are crazy chill. Despite 2017 being a beautifully chaotic year, the blessings were flowing like a river. Embrace the madness, my darling. It'll all come to pass and make sense later. Just like Kid Cudi said, only crazy makes sense. I'll take that, I guess. Stop overthinking. Just trust me, says my intuition. So I'm just supposed to surrender to unseen forces, says me. That's your choice if you want to. I know the way to your dreams and desires, but you have to be willing to let me lead you there, says my intuition. Follow its lead. I swear this just keeps getting weirder and weirder, I think to myself. This might just be one of those universal signs they talk about. I still feel iffy about this, but I have nothing to lose. I'm ready for the huge shift that's supposed to happen inside me. I don't know where I'm going, but I trust my intuition. This adventure is going to be fun. Go try this, says my intuition. F it. Why not? Says me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was great. I was kind of wandering off into another land with all those the poems and stories. And I guess that's the beauty of poems and stories, is each one is like a story. You know, each one it takes you somewhere. You know, like a little mini movie. Takes you on a voyage.
Why did you also think that I was rapping? Like, was it just like the way I wrote it?
You were sort of speaking a bit in rhymes there a little bit. The way you were actually saying it sounded like you were rapping. And I think the rhyme, the rhythm as well, the rhythm and the rhyme there, you know, you seem to have some great natural rhythm about you there, Akuchi. You're probably a great drummer as well.
Is that I have great rhythm. Like I'm not a dancer, but I do have rhythm. And when I hear a beat, I just know how to naturally flow with it. And I guess that's why when I did like my freestyle lives, like I would sometimes go on Facebook Live and just freestyle rap for the crowd. They would just say, oh, he's doing good, even though I may be a little off on my delivery. I guess it's just like they like the rhythm.
Yes. Yeah, it's very cool. I actually love rap. I love rap. One of my favorite bands from years ago was a band called Skunk Hour. Actually, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. It was probably before your time, actually, Akuchi. I don't know that you were born when Skunk Hour came out, but they were quite a big Sydney band, and they had a rapper, and they had it was a mix of rap and groove, and it was a whole lot of different styles all blended in together, and I just love that band. And so if you look them up, Skunk Hour, that's one word, you'll see some stuff online. There was two brothers that were at the helm of that band, and there was another very big band at the time called Directions in Groove, or Dig Directions in Groove, and that was very funky, sort of funky groove music too. They didn't really rap, but Skunk Hour blended rap with popular music, and it was very, very cool music. So yes, I don't mind a bit of rap, I must say. So anyway, back to your show. So can you give us some insight back to your show. Let's just step out of this amazing poetry land and back to the Susan and Akuchi Show. So you guys do it on Facebook Live. Do you do it because you're not in the same area, right? You're one of you is in Oregon and one's in Texas. So you're a fair distance from each other. So do you both hop on Facebook Live on your phones, or do you do it off a computer?
We do it off our phones because
off the phone.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell to do it off of a laptop. That seems much more complicated. And I know if it's complicated for me, it's definitely going to be complicated for Susan.
Okay. Well, I've actually done a Facebook Live off a laptop. And what you do is you just log into Facebook and you just, as if you're about to do a post, you just go live on your laptop. And what I like about it, because you're doing video streaming, it actually, you can keep your laptop still, because sometimes when you're on your phone and you're doing a live, it shakes all over the place. So with video, you know, it's really important to have it still. So I suggest give it a go off a computer sometime and see how you go with that. Although in saying that, you obviously keep your phones fairly still anyway, because I don't really notice the shake. So you must have a stand for your phone, do you?
Yeah, I got a tripod that I bought for like $2.
Oh, well, there you go. That works. That's awesome. And I love it.
I have this little magnet thing that's stuck to my computer where I can just set my phone up on it.
Okay, nice. And you know what I love about Facebook Live is that Facebook will promote your Facebook Lives to other people. And I love the fact that you can see people coming on live as you're doing it. And you can see them all pop up and see them comment and see them like and love your post. So I love the interactive side of it, and the viewers just keep growing through the Facebook Live. I guess on a negative is that unless you save the video, it tends to just go right down in your stream, your news feed, and people may miss it. They could miss it. So I suggest probably save your videos, which you probably do. Do you save your Facebook Lives at the moment?
Yeah, I save all of them now because my phone has much more space. So yeah, I save my lives now. Just in case like somebody missed it, I can just share the link of the replay and they can just watch it.
Nice. And what sort of feedback have you been getting? Have you found that now you're up to your 8th show? Are you getting a lot more viewers now on the show? What are some changes that you're noticing on the shows?
We're
about around 100 viewers now.
Awesome. On the live. Great. And what were you going to say there, Akuchi?
I said like we're around in the hundreds, but you know, people have not given us feedback for some reason yet. We've been asking for it on every episode. Give us feedback. Tell us what we're doing right and what we need to improve upon. I keep saying that for a reason, because we need to know exactly how to improve our show, because we want to deliver great value to the audience, because there's a lot of people trying to create content and we are competing in this big, huge arena on the internet of people just releasing videos pretty much every single day. So we had to figure out a way to stand out and to deliver great value.
Yeah, it's a good point. So do you ask for the feedback during the live show? Like, do you want the comments underneath the Facebook Live? Because people can comment on a Facebook Live after the show has ended. So they can, is that where you want the feedback, or do you want them to private message you?
It's all of the above, really, because if we see it live, we can just address it immediately. If it's on a replay, I'll say, wow, I never thought about that. Or even better, if they private message me and just like, we can talk personally. So yeah, we take it anyway.
Yeah, nice. So give feedback, guys. If you're watching this, make sure you give feedback for the Susan and Akuchi Show. And how can people watch your show? Do they need to connect with you personally to watch your show, or where can they go?
They can go on Facebook and send us friend requests. Like my name on Facebook is Akuchi Ra, AKUCHI. NNEKA That's how you spell my name. And then you can look up Susan Day, send her a friend request, and we go live on our page. So if one of us like presses go live on there, we can't invite anybody unless like people get in there. So that is one of the downsides, that when we go live on our page, we can't really invite people unless, you know, people hop on So they're going to have to connect with our Susan and Akuchi Show page and like it so they can get notified when we go live on there.
Okay, got it, got it. And, you know, interestingly, Akuchi, you are also a very talented cinematographer, screenwriter, and photographer, as well as being a writer and a poet and a TV host. And you're very passionate about the arts. You've been doing that for ages. You did broadcast journalism. And you're the sole proprietor of the film production company 8mm Productions. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So 8mm Productions was something that me and two other friends was started because we built this relationship together after we've been working on set. We worked on a movie Tap. So we decided to start 8mm Productions. And needless to say, it didn't really take off like we wanted it to because, you know, the other two wasn't even thinking about it anymore. And I was the only one sitting here like, what the hell? Like, I wanted to start this with y'all, and you guys were amazing to work with on set, and you individuals are hella talented at what you do. And they've been in filmmaking longer than I have. So it was around that time, like, I just got into film, like 2016, 2017 school year. And like one of them said, like, he's got so much on his plate, so he wasn't even really worried about it. And he said, you can take over it as you want to. And I said, okay, forget it. I'll take over it because I'm pretty much the one promoting it. So I was like, okay, I'll just be the sole proprietor. And if you guys don't know, it is a business term that means only one person owns that company. So sole proprietorship is one person that owns the company. They're responsible for everything, like the finances, the marketing, the logistics, if the company fails or not. So yeah, I'm just now learning about like the film business and how a film production company is run. So I'm just learning as I go. I'm not perfect, I assure you that, but I'm gonna learn how to get this damn thing off the ground and get the brand known. So what I'm trying to do for it now is get on as many get as many film projects under the brand as I can, just so I can have some content to show for it.
Yeah, nice one. Nice. That was just my cat going, and now my cat is scratching the lounge. Anyway, don't mind Tiger. He just made a very short appearance on this show. He's a little star, my little cat. Well, that's awesome. And you're doing music videos and narrative films with your production company, which is fantastic. And what I love about video is you're leveraging. You just produce it once, and people can see it again and again and again, like what we're doing right now. So video is definitely the hot thing in marketing right now. And however you can get videos, films, music videos, narrative films out, etc., is really great and a very powerful way to get messages out to people too, doing that. So, and with do you actually do shooting and editing and that side of it as well, Akuchi, with the company?
Yes, I've shot and edited my own projects, but I hired an editor for my upcoming short film called The Woman, which is coming out in mid to late summer 2018, which is this year. So I have my editor, but when I get my new laptop, I'm going to be editing my stuff again. And normally I don't like editing my own stuff because it's extra work. But I realized since I am pretty much a one-man band running my own brand and just wanting to get my stuff out there, I don't want to be limited by not having a good laptop. So I ordered a laptop today. It was a MacBook Pro, and it was like $400 something on Amazon. There was only one left, and I was looking at a whole bunch of reviews, and I said, you know what? All right, forget it. I'm just buy it, get DaVinci Resolve and edit on there. So that's what I'm gonna do is just it's just gonna be me, my camera, and my laptop. Awesome. And it's like the most minimalist setup any filmmaker can have. So my advice to upcoming filmmakers is get ready to put in a lot of money for your craft. It's very, very expensive. You look up like the cheapest DSLR, and it'll be like between $100 to $500.
Yeah, and that's
just for the camera alone, just for the body. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's American dollars, and then you've got your lenses, and so Australian dollars. You just basically add another half of that again. So 500 American will be about 750 Australian roughly at the moment. Our dollar's not that great. So yeah, so it is. And what sort of camera do you use, and what sort of editing program are you using?
I mainly borrow cameras from the school. I have my own camera. Like I have the Nikon Coolpix P500. I mainly shot photos with it, not many videos. I shot like 2 vlog videos on it, just little something just to put on the internet, test it out. But yeah, like I ordered a Nikon D3400 yesterday, and so I ordered all my camera equipment yesterday. I wound up spending $1,226 for the camera, for my boom mic, boom mic, boom pole, and extender cable all bundled in together. And I got a tripod, and I got a sound recorder. So I got all of the essentials. That's just a bare bone basics, mind you. That's just a bare bone basics. $1,226. That is a lot of money to spend on items.
That is a lot. And what editing program are you going to be using on your MacBook Pro?
I'm going to be using DaVinci Resolve. I wanted to get Final Cut, but it's like $300, and I did not feel like spending no more money, so I'm just going to use DaVinci Resolve or iMovie.
Okay. Nice, nice. Well, I look forward to seeing your productions. That's very exciting, Akuchi. Very cool. And what can we expect in some upcoming shows on the Susan and Akuchi Show? Maybe Susan, back to you.
Well, generally we chat about it beforehand and decide like within a few days. We don't have it all set up like for months ahead of time or anything. But I would like personally to discuss a lot of what's important on the planet right now for people that's going to help people to grow. And I have a lot of business friends on Facebook, so I'd like to add in some business things too, because I have things I want to learn. And Akuchi, he's going to college while he's doing all of this, and I saw one of his films.
So which film did you see? Did you see the Swan Song?
I saw the one with the paper bag over his head.
That's what it is, the Swan Song. So I'm gonna tell you about that right now. Like it was one of our last projects for Film Production 1 class, and we all decided to vote his film to work on like our group, because it was just so fascinating. And it is about this guy who is like deep down in depression. His relationship is falling apart, and he doesn't know, he's lost his identity pretty much. So that's basically a brief synopsis I can give. And I will share the link with you later on after this show is done.
Awesome. That would be great to pop that under this, under the YouTube video, actually. It would be brilliant. Pop that link in there for anyone who's watching this. Wow, that sounds really great movie, actually.
The story is told in first-person perspective.
That sounds really powerful. Sounds like a great movie. Now, since we're on the topic of depression, we started out talking about depression, and we're wrapping up the show soon talking about depression. Interestingly, did you know that the biggest side effect of antidepressant medication is suicide?
Whoa. Whoa.
That's why I don't take it anymore. I used to be on antidepressants.
And this is what the government, the pharmaceutical companies are pushing, prescription medicines. You know, the world is run by pharmaceutical companies. So what do you say to people who might want to take antidepressants, or who might want to take medication, and of course they get addicted to their medication? What do you say to people now, Susan? I know you're out to help people who are abused release their pain and become happier as individuals. So what do you say to people now who have depression?
Well, I tell them to do their affirmations every morning. They need to get their exercise. They need to have things that they can do that make them happy. If it's watching something funny, anything that makes them laugh, go out and smell the flowers, go take pictures, whatever it is that really makes you happy. You have to do those things, because if you don't, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, that's right. And you do need to feed your body properly. You need to have a lot of water. We don't drink enough water often. You know, you hear people say they're tired, they've got no energy. And I say, well, just have some water. You know, like, it's simple. Just have some water. Get some sunshine. Get out. You know, I'm very fortunate. I live on the Gold Coast. I'm 10-minute drive away from the beach. And sometimes I just need to throw myself in the ocean. That really reinvigorates me and gives me energy. Sometimes I go and do yoga. You know, there's times I still get depressed occasionally from time to time. It's not as often as I used to, but occasionally I'll go into a little dark space. I don't stay there as long as I used to, because I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of personal development work, and I can highly recommend Landmark Education. I think that's a very powerful program for anyone that's watching this. It's all over the world, landmarkworldwide.com. Check it out, and very, very powerful program, and many other programs I've done. I think hanging out with like-minded people who are up to big things too, I think that really helps. And what about you, Akuchi? What do you recommend for people who have depression?
I would just say, like, create some stuff. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter if it's quote unquote corny or whatever. Just create your way out. That's what I did. Like, that's how I liberated myself from hell, was through the arts. That is why I'm so freaking passionate about it. And also, I also recommend meditation every night before you go to bed. Just like listen to like at least a 10-minute meditation track on YouTube on, let's say, depression, if that's what you're going through. Or you can listen to one about financial abundance. There's a wide variety of guided meditations to listen to, just so you can feed your subconscious with that. And I also recommend that you listen to binaural beats, listen to frequencies like 432 hertz, 528. You can also do that. You can listen to your upbeat music, listen to your favorite artists. So don't listen to dark music, because that's only going to reinforce that darkness. So I don't recommend listening to Eminem's older songs or some 50 Cent. Like, no, because 50 Cent talks about like the streets and shooting and fighting. Like, it's not bad music, but it's just like on the dark side. Like, Eminem's and 50 Cent's music tends to be on the dark side. And don't listen to Cuddy's what is his album? Speeding Bullet to Heaven, because that album's got like a lot of dark songs. Like, oh man, his songs are so vivid that it paints a scenery. Kind of like, I think Susan Day's poetry can resonate with Kid Cudi's Speeding Bullet to Heaven. Like, if you listen to that song, what was that song's name? Like Red Sabbath? Yeah, Red Sabbath. Another one that's good. Another one that's dark is, I forgot the name of the song, but the song just reminded me of American Horror Story when I listened to it. Like, I just imagine like clips from the show playing through the song. Like, that's just how vivid my mind is when it comes to that. When I listen to music, I just imagine stuff. Like, if they get me to see pictures inside of my mind, like potential movie scenes that I can create in my own mind, I like it. They've done a great job. So if you're a musician and I listen to your music and it paints a scenery for me where I can imagine a series of like cinematic shots in it, you've known you over delivered, because my imagination is very active. So get your imagination going, really tap into your creativity. And it's going to be hard at first, and it's going to feel tedious, and it's going to feel like you're going through labor pains, because you are pregnant whenever you are trying to get yourself out of depression. And Susan, was pregnant when she wrote those affirmations. Not that she was literally giving birth to children, but she does have children and grandchildren, and her grandchild is beautiful, by the way. She was pregnant around that time. Like, whenever you're trying to like lift yourself out of a dark situation, you are pregnant, and you're going to experience a lot of the symptoms that come with it. But I tell you, the pleasure that you experience after you create that art piece that lifts you out that depression is going to be through the roof. I'm telling you, I know from experience, you're going to experience what Buddhists call nirvana.
Yes. Yeah, nicely said. And, you know, I often say life is like a roller coaster ride. You know, with the downs, there's also the ups. And that's the beauty of any breakdown, is there is a breakthrough just around the corner if people just stay on the roller coaster ride. Just strap themselves in, stay on the ride of life, because it really is. It's full of ups and downs and twists and turns and unexpected things here and there. You know, it's just how life rolls. So either you're going to be a victim of your circumstances and what happens to you, or you're going to somehow work out a way to overcome it or look for the gifts in what happens to you. And, you know, I often think of a guy I studied with in Sydney, Ben Harvey, who runs Authentic Education. And he said there's 3 steps to healing. And he said the first step is awareness. You need to be aware of your situation. The second step is acceptance. You need to accept your situation. And the third step, and this is really important, is appreciation. If you can get to appreciation for your circumstances and look for the gifts in your circumstances rather than, see, forgiveness is still making people wrong. It's still saying what they did is bad. But if you can look at it and look at and appreciate what happened, even though I know some things from an outsider's perspective can be really horrific, can seem really horrific, there's always gifts and gems and things that you learn. You become stronger as a person, for example, with every hard situation you face. And, you know, as they say, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting in life. You're never standing still. So it's, you know, I just say stay on the roller coaster ride of life. And there's some great tips that both of you have given. We do need to wrap up the show. We could just keep chatting for ages. We do need to wrap up because we've done an hour in no time. It's just flown. And I know it's in the wee hours of the morning for you guys. So I really appreciate you being on the show at this time. Is there any final words you want to say before you wrap up the show?
I would like to just say that there is a movement happening on Facebook. Due to my coming from obscurity and changing my life. And I did it on Facebook where everyone could see. And now there's a movement called Warrior Woman. And women are coming out of obscurity and starting to tell their stories on lives on Facebook because of what I have done. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm so very humbled by this.
Wow, that's awesome. So people can join a Facebook page, or is it called Warrior Women?
I do have a Facebook page now called Warrior Woman, and I love Warrior Women. They're starting to come out and talk and give their stories and their testimonies because of my being so open on Facebook about my story and my life and what I've been through.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. See, it's the ripple effect of putting yourself out there. It's amazing how many lives you can impact. And I mean, even if you impact one life, you know, it can make a huge difference. Wow, that's amazing. So Warrior Women with it's EN or Woman AN?
Woman. Warrior Woman, because each one of us is a warrior woman.
Woman, so AN. It's spelled AN. Okay, that would be great to have the link for that also under this YouTube video to make it easy for people to go straight there to that Facebook link and join that group. That would be awesome. And I just want to mention too, there's a lot of men that are also abused, and they're, you know, we don't talk about the men that get abused, emotionally abused, physically abused, mentally abused by women as well. Obviously it can go both ways. And, you know, I think a Warrior Men's group would be pretty cool too, you know, for those that are on the other side.
I've been thinking about that. But I also thought that, you know, it should be run by a man and not by me.
Yes.
So I haven't started one yet.
Yes, maybe Akuchi will do that one.
Yes, Akuchi.
No pressure, no pressure. Yeah, maybe Akuchi will do it. Yeah, thank you so much. And actually, I did a great interview for anyone who knows anyone who is depressed or suicidal, and that we didn't know how this show was going to go, but there you go. We talked a lot about depression and suicide this show. For anyone that knows anyone who is depressed or suicidal out there, I also have another episode that I did on Truth Xpose TV. I interviewed a lady called Tracy Corman, and she talks about how to overcome abuse and depression as well in that show. And there's 1 hour where we give people tips on how to overcome abuse and depression in that show. So I recommend watching that as well. It's on the Aldwyn Altuney channel. Just look up Tracy Corman, Tracy with the EY, and Tracy Corman, Korman. So if you look up her name and my name on YouTube, you'll find that video as well, which is very powerful. Any other final words? We do need to know how to connect with you guys too. So maybe we'll just say that. How can people connect with you and find out more about your show? You did mention it earlier, but let's say it again.
Okay, so before I get into that, my final words for the crowd is, if you are creative watching this and you are like in between a rock and a hard place, just know that things will come through soon, and that your circumstances will force you to be more creative in attaining your end goal. Like, you may have to work like 2, 3, 4 jobs just to have enough money to pay for art school, or to get into that standard 4-year college that has an amazing art program, or if you want to take that acting class, or you want to take that painting and poetry class. Like, you just got to do what you got to do and hustle, 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 and hustle, and hustle. And I can go on forever and ever and ever, but you're going to have to be pretty long-winded if you want to be an artist of any type, because you might have to go, as a matter of fact, you are going to have to go broke for a while. So even if it means, you are completely drained financially to get your dreams off the ground, that's what it's going to take. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anybody watching this, but that's just what I got to say. And where you can find me is on Facebook at Akuchi Ra, AkuchiNekara. And you can also find me on Instagram at spiritual_intellect, all lowercase. So that you can find me on Snapchat as PS4_is_awesome. And I created that in the 9th grade because I couldn't think of a name. So I just stuck with that for my Snapchat. So those are the 3 platforms that I am most active on. And my YouTube channel is emanfly77. It's all lowercase. It's EMANNFLY77. My demo reel is on there with all my contact and social media info. It has 2 short films on there, a music video, and a couple of podcast episodes on there if you guys want to go that far back and listen to my content from 2015 to 2016. So yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me.
Awesome. And Twitter as well. What's your Twitter handle?
At artistic_weirdo. Although you can follow me on Twitter. I won't be really active on there, but you still can follow me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Akuchi. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And Susan, where can people get in touch with you? Any final words?
I'm on Facebook just as Susan Day, and you can find me on the Susan and Akuchi Show. I have a Facebook page called Warrior Woman. I have a Facebook page called Susan Day Photography, which was doing much better before I broke my camera. Susan Day Writes is another Facebook page. I do a lot of Facebook pages because that's what I like, is Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. And soon you've got a book coming out. Where can people get a copy of your book?
The book is coming out on my birthday on March 14th.
Yay.
And you can check out Pain Has No Boundaries on Facebook. And when it comes out, it will definitely be posted on that page. And I just want to say one last thing. I've been through a lot in my life. And there were a lot of times that I wanted to take my life. And if I'd have taken my life when I was 12 years old, I wouldn't be a mom. I wouldn't be a grandma. I wouldn't have a book coming out. You have to make it through it. Basically, what I want to say is, if I can do it, so can you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Susan. That was really beautifully said. And we are so happy that you didn't take your life and that you're with us too, because you've definitely brought a lot of joy to our lives. And it's just been an absolute pleasure getting to know you better. So thank you so much for that. And for anyone watching this, did you know that you are a miracle? Every person is a miracle, but they may not get. Do you know that you beat about 1 billion other swimmers to get to the finish line just by being born? About 1 billion other swimmers. So just by being born, you are 1 in 1 billion. So everyone is very unique, very individual, and we all have gifts to share. And it would be a crying shame to see people not make the most of their lives, because it really is a gift that we've been given. And, you know, we are very blessed. We are very blessed. You know, I just saw this movie called Breathe the other day about a guy who had polio, and he needed a breathing machine. And, you know, when you he couldn't move anything from the neck down. You know, when you hear about stories like that and you think, oh my goodness, just by having a fully functioning body, we are, you know, what would you pay for an arm that works, or a leg that works, or a heart that works? What would you pay for? And you'd pay millions. You'd pay whatever it took to have a fully functioning body. And we're walking around with $1 billion body, you know, and we tend to abuse it often, mentally, emotionally, physically. Your environment is so important, who you choose to hang out with as well, and what you say to yourself. And, you know, be kind to others, I say. We've got Valentine's Day coming up in a few days. So let's share the love. Listen to more Bob Marley. There you go. Talking about different artists there before Akuchi. Let's listen to some more Bob Marley, you know, Is This Love? Those kind of songs, you know. All you need is love, actually. So, and all that love that you have for others is also there for you. So give yourself some love. Do some nice pampering things for yourself. Get a massage. Look after yourselves and look after others. Be kind, etc., etc. Oh, I could just chat for ages. Anyway, we do need to go. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us, Akuchi and Susan. It's been great to have you on. And for anyone watching this, if you haven't subscribed to the Aldwyn Altuney YouTube channel, please do. This is Star Xpose TV. You have been watching. We've been talking to the hosts of the Susan and Akuchi Show, the talk show that is on Facebook Live every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you connect with Akuchi Ra and Susan Day on Facebook to follow the show. And if you like what you've seen here, please share the love. You could save a life with what you've heard here today on this show. Share this video, comment. We'd love to, if you have any questions at all, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining us, and go out there and be the best you can be for you and for those around you. That's what I say. Any other final words, Akuchi, Susan, before we wrap up?
All right. So I have a page for my 8 Mil Productions company. It is also on Facebook. That's what I forgot to mention, because when she mentioned hers, I was like, okay, let me show them to my page. So I will be uploading my next short film on my Facebook page and on my regular wall and on YouTube. So I'm going to be spreading it all over, just so people can watch it on Facebook and on YouTube.
Beautiful. I look forward to that. 8 Mil Productions, and that's 8, the number 8, MILL, and another word, Productions. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Akuchi. Susan, anything else you want to say?
You are a wonderful human being, every single one of you out there. And please know, if you're feeling bad, if you're having a hard time, if you don't feel loved, know this one thing, that I love you.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I love you too. That's beautiful. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Akuchi. Thank you so much, you guys. Love your show. Great work. Show number 8. You're on the abundance episode. You just finished the abundance. 8 is about abundance, right? So you've just done an abundance episode. So onwards and upwards to you guys. And I hope the growing just keeps on increasing, and that you help changing and shifting lives out there and sharing from the heart so beautifully as you do. So thank you so much for being with us, and thank you to everyone watching this. And we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.